What's up, race fans? Welcome to episode number 2 of the Pit Box. I'm Corey, joined by my buddy Jesse. Hey, bro, Tato. I was thinking about going to the NASCAR Hall of Fame this year. You know how to get there once I get to Charlotte?
Yeah, man, super easy. First thing you got to do is take a left, and then another, and then another, and then another. So, our first four tires and fuel of the night, Corey, is going to be the 5-year anniversary of stage racing. What have been your thoughts over the years, and what kind of changes has it made? Has it made the desirable effects?
Man, let me tell you, buddy, the stage racing has been incredible. I know I'm gonna get flack from some fans about that, but man, when you look at the product and what it brings each and every week, it was such a great idea. I love it all the way through. I have since pretty much day one. I never was really a hater about it because I don't know about you, but when 20, 10, 15 years ago, when you were watching a race with your uncle or your grandpa, what were they doing on lap 50, lap 100? Were they
Get,
watching?
getting a beer?
Getting a beer, some of them taking a little nap, go mow the yard. I mean, I'd love to hear how you disagree. Granted, lots of people do, so I'm sure you're going to have an opinion about it, but I freaking love it.
Well, let's start with this. Strategy is dead. You pit once before the stage, you pit once before stage 2, you run halfway through stage 3, and guess what? You make a pit stop, and then you run till the end where there's some kind of
Wait,
random
wait, wait.
caution.
No, you got to hold up and listen. We all know the famous name Quinn Houff. I mean, he gives crew chiefs plenty of reasons to have to change up their strategy with tires. You can always count on a Quinn Houff spin out.
Just because somebody spins out on lap 50, lap 200, and lap 495 does
Well,
not make stage racing better.
well,
Okay,
I mean,
so
yeah.
let's stop there. So you got the cancellation of strategy pretty much. Okay, so no more fuel mileage races. When's the last time you seen somebody run out of fuel, man? Like, I can't even remember a race. Like, Michigan used to be notorious, Pocono notorious for let's do a fuel mileage race. Now, I don't want that every single week, but I do like that on occasion. Like, let's get it a couple times a
Yeah.
year, like, and another thing about stage racing, road courses. What are we doing? If there's a caution on a road course with 3 laps to go in a stage, what are we doing? We are staying under caution for half an hour. Hello? Half an hour under caution to finish the stage so that they can then do what? Keep the
Yeah,
caution
yeah.
out so that they can pit for 3 or 4 more laps, and then we're going to go green flag again. No, I can't do
Now,
30-minute caution flags because a stage can't get restarted. No
listen
thanks.
here. Listen here, Mister Get off my lawn over there.
That's
Just
right.
just because strategy is not what it used to be, and granted, there are still some races where it does come into play, just not as much. You know, not as much. I agree, but I also think that in today's age, modern, newer fans, they want something that's on the screen that they see creating entertainment. For people like even myself, I like both. I love stage racing, and I actually like the old school way too. So I would even be cool if NASCAR threw in a couple races without stages. I know that would be
Can't
wild.
do
Points would
that.
be screwed. You can't do that, but it would be cool to have like, hey, this is the annual no stage race. See what you got. But be that
They're
as it
never
may,
going to go away from it.
no, it's too much
It's
entertainment. I mean,
it
you
is
never
entertaining. The restarts are entertaining where you get everybody bunched back up and they
right, but
just keep going,
but it
and then
also
you
creates harder racing. Like Back then,
Yeah.
yes, the strategy was take care of your car, take care of your tires, and don't get in a wreck, but take care of that thing. Now, with especially now that we're 5 years into it, teams have realized, look, stage one, two, these things freaking matter, and we got to get after this. And these drivers with 10 to go, 15 to go, I mean, they are
They're
pushing
driving
it like
harder.
it's for
Yeah.
the they're pushing for the win, and that creates great stuff to watch. Now, people like you who are more of a crew chief type enjoy the strategy. I've got lots of buddies that are all about the strategy and the endurance of it. Get that that's gone, but from a purely today's time, you got a 3 hour race and you don't go more than an hour without some form of extra excitement.
You mean of a break?
Yeah,
We get a
you
break.
also get a break with it too, but you also see
Throw the
some.
timeout.
I
It's
mean,
racing. Let's
holy
take a
crap!
timeout.
The yeah, but the oh yeah, I've heard that. We've got I
It's timeout
know
time.
it's timeout time. Yeah, I've heard that a million times. But you have to look at even freaking the Daytona 500, Talladega. I mean, you want to talk about catching up on your Z's until the last 20 laps. Now these guys, I mean, stage one and two, the green white coming out for the stage is being finished. These guys, you think it's if they're going for the win because that's 10 points and a playoff point, and every playoff point matters. So yes,
You know.
I see your point, but I'm all aboard the stage train.
Yeah, and we're just gonna disagree on this one because I understand that with like people, especially nowadays with short attention span and everything like that. Like, let's get a 3 hour race into a box and then we can break it down into hour, or whatever. But it's just like it's not racing. It's not the purest form of
Oh
motorsport
God, it's
where
not
you're
racing.
it's it's racing. It's a
Hey,
race within a race. Like,
hey, hey.
let's have
Are,
two heats in a. Let's call it what it is. It's heat racing. Let's call
is
it what
there?
it
Hey,
is.
listen. Is there cars driving? Are they going really fast? Are they competing side by side with each other
At
more
times,
than they were before? Yes.
that's
I
true.
mean, everything about this visually is better. Now, like you said, there's no. I mean, you can look at all different forms of racing, and they have different. I mean, hell, these guys this coming week are getting ready to race for 24 hours straight. I mean, you want your strategy? Watch that freaking thing because there's a ton of it. This car can be rebuilt in like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So, I mean, NASCAR is doing what I think other forms of racing are lacking, and they are adapting to the times, and that's what stage racing was. Is hey, Grandpa's 6 feet under. We got what are these kids like now?
Well, this grandpa's not 6 feet under yet, so quit trying to bury me.
You ain't no freaking grandpa yet. All right, we're not that old.
All right. Well, let's leave that one there, man. Let's jump into another four-tire topic here. The new penalty system for NASCAR was announced this week, and it's looking like the new L1 penalty, potential up to $100,000 fine, and the crew chief suspended for a race. And then you got the L2 penalties for illegal parts. That's going to be like $250,000 and points deduction that could include playoff point deduction as well. Again, crew chief suspended for multiple races or crew members, it says. And then the
Ouch.
L3 counterfeit parts up to $500,000, half a mil, and
Throwing it in the
possibly
NASCAR bank.
ineligible for the playoffs. A playoff ban for the rest of that season. And it could also include an and or of your team, your car number getting thrown out of the next race. What say you about NASCAR laying the wood down on these teams?
I tell you what, buddy, man, this is a lot to take in.
Yeah.
Personally, I love it because like I said, I appreciate and I enjoy the old school. Like, let's see what we can get away with and go racing. If you ain't cheating, you're not trying. I get all that, but people that always complain about the good old days when Dale Jarrett or Richard Petty or whoever lapped the field 60 times and won the race. I like that racing and I appreciate that kind of racing. But this penalty system, dude, Rick Hendrick, Tony Stewart, all these boys are going to hear, oh wait, we might not get to make the playoffs. Sponsor trouble, hello, for one, and
Hmm.
two, you mean what are you going to race for if you're not racing to make the playoffs? So I love it. I think it's awesome. Crack the freaking hammer down on these guys. Bring the same car. I want to see LaJoy. Let's see if old Quinn Half can race.
All right. So before I respond, I'm gonna need to take a drink.
Oh, while you're drinking, I'll keep going. $500,000, even for a Rick Hendrick. My God, dude, that is a lot.
It's a big penalty. So you mentioned it. NASCAR's kind of laying the law down here and saying, "Hey, don't make us make a decision. We are giving you stock parts, and we expect you to race stock parts. So don't be trying to counterfeit this or counterfeit that and make it look the same but get some kind of weight advantage or make it move during the race and then move back in post race. Like, just don't do it." And a part of me is like, okay, let's make the field even. Okay, let's give everybody generally the same stuff, besides the crew chiefs and the car chiefs and all the engineers around it. Obviously, Aspire Motorsports isn't going to have the access that a SHR, HMS, Penske, those kind of teams have, but they're still going to have more engineers around. But then I go back to the old man get off my lawn. Okay, where is the creativity that we talk so much about? Like, where is that going to be at now? Like, teams aren't just going to say, here's this circle that NASCAR's drawn around us. Let's stay in it. No, that's not going to happen. Where are they going to find these advantages at? And is there even a gray area now that they could find? Like, they're still
Oh
doing
yeah.
their shocks and springs and things like that. For now, NASCAR will get involved in that eventually. I'm sure of it. When this doesn't have the
Oh
Spire Motorsports and Rick Ware's running up front, it's going to happen. So, fans, I warned you here first on the pit
well.
box.
Let me ask you something though, real quick. While it's fresh on the mind about this. Do you think the risk is worth the reward now?
Hell no. I mean, a playoff ban for counterfeit parts, for manipulating parts, just that dangling out there for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Is somebody gonna chance it and NASCAR gonna make an example out of
Well,
somebody?
well,
You
who
bet
authorizes
you.
that? Who authorizes that? You might have Stuart Haas, Rick Hendrick. You could be the Joe Gibbs,
I
all
don't
those big
think
teams, but it doesn't matter because you have to think and realize that these engineers are still they're gonna find gray areas, but then
they are. That's their
someone
job.
above the engineer is gonna have to authorize that.
I
Hey,
don't think so. No.
you don't think there's gonna be someone
I
saying,
don't think an engineer or a crew chief is going to take that gray area and give it to a Rick Hendrick or a Penske or a Gibbs. I think they're going to say, I'm going to stick this in their car, and our owner will will like not know about it. So if we do get the hammer down, they can have plausible deniability. Hey, I didn't know this was going on. I'm going to put a stop to it
my
right
God, dude.
now. Blah blah blah. They can say all the right things that way. You look at it now. Do
Oh
you think Rick
man.
Hendrick was in there when Chad Knaus was building Jimmy Johnson all those cars? No.
No,
There's no way.
but there's also a different time. I mean, hell, we saw. I think it was at the Daytona practice where they were skewing the car. They would figure out a
Yeah,
way for
that's
it to
just
pass inspection
testing.
skew.
Yeah,
Right?
it's
No, I
just
know, but I'm
testing.
just saying it as an example. If you're doing that, and then like say you're in the shop, you're at the wind tunnel, whatever, and you're like, dude, this thing right here maybe gains us a half a tenth at these 5 tracks. Maybe we don't like. It looks like
A
it
half a
should.
tenth is a lot, especially
It
in a
is a
spec
lot.
car.
It is a lot, but is that half tenth worth not making the playoffs if NASCAR catches you? Because if you win that race because you're a half a tenth faster, they're going to take your car back to their shop. They're going to tear it apart and they're going to find that problem. So
Yeah.
I don't think the risk is worth the reward as much as it used to be. And if you're cheating, you ain't trying. It's going to be a phrase that's going to be a thing of the past.
Yeah, I mean, it's, gosh, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see who's willing to risk it, you know. As Bruce Arians says, no risk it, no biscuit, baby.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, I mean the teams with the money are obviously they're not. I mean, $500,000 is still a lot of money even to a big team. That's a lot of dough.
Yeah,
But
it is.
you know the Spires and the new teams and like they're not gonna check that gray line, especially in the
No.
first season. They're
Yeah.
gonna get data this first season and be like, okay, what's NASCAR really checking? They're gonna look for what NASCAR is maybe not fully trained on yet
What
because
they're
these are gonna
not
be new
looking for.
roles.
Yeah, nobody
Yeah, these
knows
are
what
gonna
they're looking at. Nobody knows
yeah,
where that half a tenth is at in this car. You know,
yep,
right now, Joey Logano said at the whatever, not the Phoenix test, but a test, or maybe it was Phoenix or Dega, I don't remember, or Daytona, not Dega. But he was saying, you know, right now we're finding a tenth here and a tenth there, whereas in this last, the Gen 6 car, we were finding, you know, a half a tenth maybe, you know, and that was a big thing. So yeah, they're gonna find areas to make these cars faster. That's why the testing times are like, yeah, that's what they are now. But when they come back to those races, let's see what they really run
hey, you want to know
between
what
now
gain
and
you two
then.
tenths? You know what it gets you 2 tenths?
What's that?
Kyle Larson and not spinning out of Phoenix.
There you go. That's a good transition here to our two tire topics, buddy. You
Oh
mentioned
yeah,
it. The
drop the jack, vroom vroom, 2 tires and fuel.
So here you go, buddy. Take it away. Tell us what we're going to be talking about.
Well, like I said, man, we're gonna touch briefly with it being our 2 tire segment, which is as we've explained is a little bit shorter than our 4 tires, but the Cup guys were at Phoenix, and as you know, the new tire is thinner. Old tire was probably about like this. New tires like this. That creates a
Fatter.
that creates a smaller window for the drivers to screw up and find the edge of the race car. So it looks like we've got, from what I've seen, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, and Todd Gilliland, all three. Chase Elliott spinning out twice, testing this car out. So I brought this up to you because I thought I wanted to ask you: do you think, with the tires and the car, with the edge and finding that edge being tighter, is that going to be good or bad for the season?
I think it's going to make an interesting wrinkle. You want to talk about um, a finer edge. So for those out there that are interested, so if you've got a tire that's this thick, you know, and you're pushing on it laterally, that tire is going to move over some, and you're going to get some of that sidewall to bite through those high banked corners, and so that's going to give you more surface area. Well, with a tiny tread, you know, a tiny sidewall like that, it obviously is not going to have much flex to it, so it's not going to move near as much. Now you've got a wider tire on the new car, so that's gonna give them a little bit more surface area to play with. But yeah, that edge, feeling the car in the corner, like as you're turning, you're not gonna be able to lean on it like they were even last year. So I think it's gonna be interesting because I think we're gonna see a lot of self spins, and praise Jesus, I'm looking forward to this. Like 650 horsepower, yes please. Give it more if they
670.
can. 670, yeah, sorry, and the 4-inch spoiler everywhere. I love that, and I am looking forward to these guys having to work that wheel, you know, and watching those drivers' hands catch that car in the corners, buddy.
Yeah, I honestly don't. I've been thinking about this one for a while, and I think I'm leaning it's going to be a bad thing because I think it's going to expose certain people as maybe not quite as talented as you
That's
thought.
the point.
Well, I know, but that's why I've been on a toss up. Like, I can't quite decide if I think it's good or bad. I only
If
lean towards
Quinn
bad
Half is
because
a great driver and he doesn't spin anymore, and we see Kyle Busch running 36, and now he's the last guy on the lead lap, getting lapped after 20 laps, that's going to be a
But
tall tale sign. It's not going to happen, but
no, it could happen, and that's where I'm leaning towards bad because if you get a Kyle Busch, a Chase Elliott, a freaking Kyle Larson, I don't think it'll be Larson, but
no.
if you get some of these guys that have been in NASCAR for a long time and now, hey,
I don't think it's
we
going to be
can
any of those guys you just
we
said.
I'm saying
There
there
might
is
be
a
somebody.
possibility
You're right. Yeah.
a Truex, or it could even be Kevin Harvick, or any of the generation that's slowly leaving the sport. Maybe their reaction time isn't as good as the younger guys, so they do tend, and they've never had an edge this window this small. I
Yeah.
think it could expose like, okay, well, what's been going on for the last 20 years? These guys have been great at what they've been given, but now that the given window is smaller and age, maybe they're just struggling to keep up with the edge that is now there.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to be really anything that we have much to worry about with the top echelon of guys that you named. Now, there may be some mid pack guys that we learn are not as good as, maybe some of their supporters thought they may have been, or maybe they'll be better. But I don't think there's some drivers in the Cup Series that can't drive, but there's not very many. To get to the Cup Series, you've had to win in lots of other series first, most
Yeah,
of the
but
time. Not
go
always,
down
but
and
most of the time. So I don't think that's something we're going to see, to be honest with you. A lot of these guys have driven Xfinity cars. Some of the older guys that you mentioned, they drove the Gen 5 cars. Some of them even
yeah,
the Gen 4. So, like, they're used to grabbing a
but the
handful of
window's never
steering
been in
wheel.
this. Yeah, I guess we'll see. I hope I'm wrong because I just want to see. I want to see good racing, and I don't like. If the first couple weeks you see some self spins, I'll get that. But if it continues past that and it's not guys in the back, then I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be disappointed
I
because
disagree. I would rather see guys up front pushing hard, getting on that line, maybe getting a little over it, and then trying to save it, and maybe not being able to catch it so fast. Or they're gonna get better at catching these cars. It's just gonna happen. Time is gonna get on their side. They've had very limited time, even with the 3 tests this off season. They've had very
right,
limited time to learn this line. So when they're in it every single week, these guys are going to learn to push the edge of it
yeah.
and be able to
I just
catch that car. With the faster steering, we'll probably see a lot of overcorrecting
yeah,
because if you've listened to some of the guys that have driven, like you're going through a corner like this and you're ready, you start to break loose, you immediately are, your mind is trained to turn this much. Well, now in this car, instead of that much, you're having to turn that much, and you're just doing it real quick. So,
yeah.
and I think that's what happened to Austin Dillon, by the way, at the Charlotte test when he trashed that car. It looked like he just overcorrected and nosed it into the wall where that front end damage came from because it looked like he kind of spun, got the back of it, and then overcorrected and got the front of it. But nobody
Yeah.
knows because that's just what it looks like to
Uh,
me when they were pulling it back on the trailer.
I'll tell you what,
So
NASCAR fans, be excited for this because when you see cars spin up by themselves, that means the car's hard to drive.
absolutely. So
But anyway, let's drop the jack. We'll let our driver take a couple laps, come back in for fuel only, and we'll start that off with. I know we're a racing show, and we talked about yes or no on doing this, but the mother loving Chiefs are going to the AFC Championship Sunday. I got to just throw a brief, shout out to my boys and see what you're looking forward to, which game or which team or what's got you hyped about this weekend because last weekend was crazy.
last weekend was the best football weekend of anything I've ever seen. Like that was insane. 4 games, 3 come down to last second field goals, and the only game that isn't a last second field goal is a freaking walk off touchdown in overtime. Hello. With however many, like 20 something points scored in the last 2 minutes of regulation, that is crazy.
Yep.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so we'll get back to this question. Chiefs versus the Bengals. Man, what a game! Bengals have already beat the Chiefs
Offense.
once this week, or once in
Yeah,
the last
yeah,
month. Okay,
yeah. Well,
so
there were some questions raised there, and as everybody knows, that's a football fan. Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, man. He's eight and
he's a
two. The
beast.
only person that's ever beaten him in the playoffs in
It's
his first
Tom Brady.
4 years is Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So good luck. I mean, I'm not a Bengals hater.
Oh,
I
and by
like
the
Joe
way, both of those losses, one was an AFC Championship, the other was the Super Bowl. So the guy's
and the
pretty good.
AFC Championship was in overtime.
Yeah,
He lost in
and he never
overtime. He
touched the
didn't.
ball. So
Yeah.
he's a beast. I mean, we all know that. But the
Yep.
Bengals, man, Joe Burrow,
Yeah.
watch that dude. I mean, he's a baller, and he is confident. You know,
Mhm.
borderline cocky, but still, I think he's really likable, and I love what he brings to the Bengals. I'm glad to see them doing well. I've always liked their uniforms. I love that color contrast between orange and black. It's just
Oh yeah,
one of
it's
my
so cute.
favorite color combinations personally. But another one that I'm looking forward to is seeing what the Rams can do. Can they get over that hump of being beat by the 49ers 6 straight times?
But we know what team can't get over that hump, and they're going to be watching the game from home this weekend.
The Cowboys?
The Packers and the Cowboys.
Yeah. Yeah,
The
man, that
Packers
was.
especially, man. Woo.
Yeah,
But
the Packers and the
anyway,
Cowboys both lost in dramatic fashion this week, and both fan bases very polarizing. So funny,
yeah.
hey, do you know what you call 52 guys sitting around a TV at the Super Bowl?
What do you call
The Cowboys.
them? Every year.
Every year. So.
You call a whole state full of disappointed fans every year? Texas.
So,
Both
all
teams,
right,
but
who you got
anyway.
winning this weekend? Give me your picks.
I got Chiefs by 10, and I'm going to take the Rams by, I think I'll go with 3.
See, I'm kind of the opposite. I'm going to take the Chiefs by 3 on a last-second field goal again. They're going to run down the field, maybe win it in overtime again. I think that's going to be a really close game. And I've got the Rams. I think they're going to make a statement out of the 49ers. I think Kyle Shanahan is going to try to take the ball out of the Rams' possession. I think he's going to hold on to it. I don't think he's going to let Jimmy Garoppolo win or lose the game. Last time they played an AFC Championship or the NFC Championship game, Garoppolo only had 8 passes. I could see another game like that. So, but I think the Rams have enough now without Jared Goff and replace him with Matthew Stafford. I think they're going to make the most out of their possessions. I don't think they're going to be kicking field
Well,
goals.
I
And I
don't
think
know.
they're going to break this streak of 6 in a row, and it's going to stop there, and that's going to put them in the Super Bowl.
Hey, I think they are going to be, I think the Rams are going to be hungover because they're all going to be at the Clash on Saturday.
I think they're all going to be there. So we've got the Clash coming up, Corey. You're right. It's a week away
Oh, yeah,
today.
I messed up. That was my bad. I forgot it was
So
next week and not
yeah,
this
it's
week.
a week away today. So they're going to be on their off season, or they're going to be on their off week preparing for that Super Bowl. So speaking of Super Bowl fans, it's going to be in LA, as we all know, the Clash at the Coliseum. Man, this track looks amazing. They've put the lines on it. It looks a lot wider now with the lines than I thought it was
Mhm.
when we first talked about it last week. So
Hey,
I'm looking forward to it. But look, here we got Ice Cube.
if
We
you're
got
scared, go to church, buddy. It's the Clash.
and then we've got a DJ playing during all the cautions, and we've got Pitbull with a 45-minute concert pre-race. What are your thoughts about this, man? New NASCAR in town, right?
Man, you know, I'm really excited. I think it's great. I love how forward thinking NASCAR is trying to be in every aspect. They're always trying to stay a step ahead of what society as a whole in America is wanting. And you're to have Ice Cube, freaking Ice Cube. I mean, are you serious? That's going to be awesome. Ice Cube is fantastic. Been around for a long time. The DJ is going to be great because with it being a new car, there could be a lot of cautions. So having some good jams going on, some good music will be great. And but my question to you for this topic is, are are they going? Are they far reaching? Is this are they going too far for this event? Because once you leave the Clash, you're going to go to the Daytona 500, which is another big. It's great. But then you start getting into the season, and the people that are coming to this show, to the Clash, and I'm calling it a show because that's what it's going to be. Are they going to be disappointed if they continue to watch throughout the season?
I think it's a real risk. You know, they said 70% of their ticket sales are first-time attendees. So that's a big number. You know, if you're
That's a
getting them
very big
drawn
number.
in with Ice Cube and Pitbull, and then they're gonna go to a race in, I don't know, pick the state, Phoenix, Texas, Kentucky, Kansas, whatever, anything in the North Carolina area, and they see country music before, no
Yeah,
real performances during the cautions, and it's just like, where'd the show go? Now, I
yeah,
think NASCAR is going to do a lot more of this. I think if it's a success, you can see this at pretty much every racetrack. Maybe not this year, but in the second half of this year, um, I could see tracks starting to book people out. And the old fans like me, or like guys that have my mentality of it's the good old boys. That day's gonna be over, man. We're gonna be getting some rock stars, some rappers, and it's about time. We need to open
yeah,
that door and
exactly.
let everybody in.
100%.
Like
Yeah,
get rid of the Confederate flag. I don't really care about that. Never really have. Like it's unnecessary. So let's get rid of it. Let's get those American flags up. Let's fly them high. Let's get that whatever music you like blasting on the infield and
put that
partying
favorite
out
driver
in
flag
the
up there.
yeah. And let's get parties out in the parking lot, tailgates, and
Yeah,
let's just get together and have fun. We're coming together to be a community around racing. Let's leave
and just
everything
to have a
else
good
out of
time,
it.
man.
You
And that's
know?
what NASCAR's trying to do, and I
Yeah,
love it.
I do
I
too.
I I, I freaking love, and I hope that they continue this trend, not as just a clash, but because I mean I've been to a lot of races, and they're all fun. They each have, they usually will
They're
have a
unique.
pre-race show, and
Yeah.
each one, yeah, each one is its own thing. And to all you fans going to the clash, I hope it's awesome. I hope it's as great as it looks like it's going to be. But once you're done with the clash, I know you're in LA. Your closest track's going to be what, Auto Club,
Yeah.
maybe Vegas.
Sonoma.
Vegas would be a great race to go check out, but you guys need to understand, the new fans, that going to a NASCAR race is like nothing else you'll ever do. I've been to NFL games, I've been to NBA games, I've been to lots of sporting events, and nothing is like NASCAR.
No. The
It's
sound,
unbelievable.
the
You,
smell,
if
the
you
whole
have the
experience.
time and you want to do it, go to the Bristol night race. That's number one on my list. It's number one on a
Yep.
lot of on a lot of longtime NASCAR fans' list. But go check that out. But you can make a weekend out of it. It's not like you got to drive all the way to this place,
Yeah.
watch a 3 hour race, and go home. You can get there
Right.
Friday, and there's plenty of crap to do till Sunday,
Yep.
and it's all fun. And bring some Pedialyte or Gatorade because you're going to be hungover.
You're gonna need to hydrate.
Oh
Well,
yes.
on that note, we're gonna go
No,
ahead
we're
and
not
get out of
done.
here. We're not
No, we're
done.
not. We're not done.
I
We're not done
do.
because
I've got one more thing to say. And this has been irking me for a couple weeks just listening to people do this. Okay? This is not the next gen car anymore. Okay? It's the Gen 7. Okay? It's the
dun
car
dun
of
dun.
today. It's not the car of tomorrow. That was 2008 or whatever.
You are
This is the
wrong.
car of now.
You're
This is
wrong.
the
I'm going to
Gen
fight you.
7.
No, it's not the
This is
car
the
of.
current car.
No, it's not the car of now until the Clash is here. Until then, it's still the car tomorrow. Till what day is the Clash? Let me
The
look. I
car of
forget.
tomorrow was 2008, but get it with the times.
The, sorry, the next gen. February 6th. So until on February
Next
5th,
week,
and February 5th until February 5th, it's still the next
nah,
gen. February
no.
6th, it's Gen 7.
Let's start getting used to Gen 7 now,
All
because
right, man.
we've been calling it next gen for 2 years, man. Two
Yeah,
years this car's been
yeah.
in production. Get it on the track. I'm ready to roll. And
Gen
with that,
7, baby.
with that, we're going to call it a night, guys. We appreciate you
Hey,
joining us here on the Pit Box. Leave us a
yes.
comment down below. Tell us what you think. What topics do you want to see in this little box below us? Let us know.
Yeah.
Share.
Hey, everybody listening real quick before Jesse closes us out. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you guys. We're going to try to get content out as much as we can, at least for sure weekly. Keep an eye out. Anybody that follows iRacing, we're going to be doing some Road to Pro stuff,
Yep.
me and Jesse. But also, seriously, anybody that watches, even if you don't really know much about racing, put a comment down there and say, hey, I don't know much about this. Could you guys talk about this? Anything. Don't be shy. No questions dumb. We're all about it. We love to inform anybody that wants to learn.
Yeah, and we'll interact with you down there too. Got a couple personal channels that will interact with you guys as well. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, and we'll interact with you on there too. Look for us at the Pitbox, and then
Yep.
you've got us here as well to hang out with you every single week. So we appreciate you joining us, guys. Leave a comment, leave a like, share with your friends, and we'll see you all next time on the Pitbox.
See you guys.